worst note a director has ever given you?
What are you doing with your mouth? Stop doing that. It looks stupid. And
How'd you
I've
handle
worked with
that
him.
one?
I've worked with him for like 7 years.
Little euphoria action, Sam. Okay, all right.
But you
And
know what? He was right. It looked really stupid.
Prepare your ears, humans. Happy, sad, confused begins now.
Hey guys, it's Josh. Welcome to another edition of Happy, Sad, Confused. Another first-time guest. We're on a run lately. We've had a lot of first-timers. We often have the repeat guest today, Jacob Elordi, one of the hottest young actors on the scene, joining me to talk about everything from The Kissing Booth, Euphoria, and of course, Frankenstein. Thanks guys, as always, for checking out the pod. This is a really, I won't say this was a surprise, but I didn't know what to expect from Jacob Elordi. And boy, did he deliver not only in performance in Frankenstein, but in this conversation. I really gained so much more respect even than I already had for him because he's just a true, I don't know, he loves this stuff. He loves acting, he loves film. He clearly lives and breathes this stuff, and I can always vibe with someone like that. So you're gonna dig this one. I dug it. Before we get to Jacob, reminder, of course, check out our Patreon where you get all the early access and discount codes and autographed merch and so much cool stuff. Patreon.com/happy sad confused. We are publishing so many cool episodes right now, so there's more stuff there than ever, to be honest. And we do have some live events coming up, including Brendan Fraser, November 18th in New York City. Get in on that one. We're screening his new film, Rental Family, and some really cool other events coming up very soon. Oh, there's Lucy. She's getting up. That's the bonus if you're watching on Spotify or YouTube. Okay, so Jacob, look, this guy is doing it right. He, of course, came to fame in the Kissing Booth series, and that's one thing. And he's very sweet and appreciative of that. But to see what he's been doing lately, big props to this guy for how he's navigating his career. Euphoria, of course, but then, of course, working with, Paul Schrader and Sofia Coppola, and now Guillermo del Toro. Yeah, as the creature, no less, in Frankenstein. And I say this to him, and I am not alone in this. Jacob Elordi is kind of the best thing in Frankenstein, and it's not a slight to anybody else, but he's amazing. It's a really great performance, and I honestly hope he gets some recognition in the award space. I mean, not that stuff really matters, blah, 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 but he deserves it. Guys, look at her face. Look at Lucy's. Is that the cutest dog ever? And that's a good connection to Jacob because we talk a lot about our dogs. He's a big dog person too. So again, won my heart on that point too. Dog chat and movies chat and Guillermo del Toro chat with an actor, triple win. Frankenstein, I believe this is still in some theaters, but is also going to hit Netflix. I think might be on Netflix by the time you are listening or watching this. So no excuses. Enjoy the feast that is Guillermo del Toro delivering one of his passion projects, and enjoy watching, a guy really coming into his own as an actor. And of course, I didn't even mention Saltburn. He's going to be in Wuthering Heights. Can't say it out loud. Coming soon, which is going to be a big movie next year. So lots in this conversation to enjoy. Without any further ado, here's me and Jacob Elordi. Why, look, it's Jacob Elordi on my Zoom screen. How are you, man? Thank you for doing this. I appreciate
Hey,
you.
man. Josh, thank you for having me.
Our paths really have barely crossed. I think we had like a fleeting moment at an MTV Movie Awards silly bananas show, which is not a
Yes.
real place to have any kind of human interaction. But
Yes.
this is the real deal now. You ready?
This is the realest of deals. A Zoom screen, the idea of you, a digital idea of me.
I'm
And
better in
30
digital.
minutes.
I don't know about you, but I'm better in digital form.
Oh my God, don't say that.
Well, I will say I was saying before, I'm coming to your event tonight, so hopefully we'll see each other in person
I'll
after
see you in
this.
the flesh. I just
There you
start
go.
crying when I see your face. Oh God, he was right. Oh God.
Get back into your Zoom
Just get
box.
back in your screen.
So before we talk Frankenstein, and I adore this film and adore this performance, let's talk dogs for a second. It's on your shirt. My dog pillow is right behind me.
I can see that, yeah.
I believe we're both obsessive dog dads. Layla is yours.
A little Staffy.
Oh
What
yeah,
do you
Staffy Pitt,
little Staffy
little
Pit?
Yeah, the best, the
So
sweetest.
cute.
She, she,
So
she's
their bellies are so nice.
don't get me started. Yeah, she's that she
That warm little belly, just so good.
the mine is out on a walk right now, but tell me about
You have a
yours
dog
is Layla.
walker? That's very
My dog walker is known as my wife. My no, we trade offs.
Oh, oh, that says a lot about me. Um,
Tell me about your dog and your. Have you always been a dog guy?
yeah, my whole life. We grew up with we had a Dalmatian when I was smaller called Dottie, and then we had a Cavalier King Charles Spaniel called Paris. Um, and we love them. Just love dogs. And my dream actually when I was like a teenager, when I was in high school, my dream was to live in New York in an apartment with a German Shepherd and feed it pizza while I watched cartoons. So I essentially do that now, but in a much more responsible way. I don't give my dog pizza because I wanted to live forever, but I'm essentially living my dream.
Where do you stand on dressing a dog in human clothing? Halloween is coming up. Is Layla going to get a costume or no?
You know, I should say that I hate it, but I can't.
No, I'm with you.
Because
I used to make
hate
fun of
it,
people that did that,
but
but now
it's so cute when you put a
I
little
know.
t-shirt on them
I
and
know.
they follow you around with a t-shirt on.
I know.
It's so beautiful. I mean, it's probably, and also I think my dog enjoys it. Like
Yeah,
she gets really proud when she puts something on. She starts just wiggling around the house,
so
you
totally.
know.
What have you dressed her as just in a shirt?
I put her in the Matildas are in a Aussie soccer team,
Okay.
and I put her in a little Matildas jersey, which was honestly I cried a bit. It was so
Oh,
cute. She looks so cute. And then I
you're
put her in like I just usually put her in my clothes, and she just takes it. She just kind of stands.
Oh. Yeah, ours I feel like is specializing in horror figures. She for one Halloween she was Chucky, and this Halloween she's gonna be Pennywise the clown. So we're just
Is it
running
the
through
kind
horror
of, does
icons.
he have the kind of one? Have you seen those costumes where the arm moves? There's like an
Oh,
arm attached to it, and
that's
it's like
exactly it. That's
that's
it.
what
That's
it's
it.
stabbing while they while
Oh,
across
the
the room.
video I have of her doing that is
It's
one of
just
my
the
favorites.
funniest thing I've ever seen.
Okay, we got the important stuff out of the
Yeah.
way.
Okay. Now let's
Second
get
most
down to
important
business.
is Frankenstein, dude. This movie, this performance, you are the heart and soul of this movie. I mean, truly, what an accomplishment! Congratulations. I mean, this is a stacked cast. Let's be real. Oscar
Yeah,
Isaac, Christoph Waltz, Mia Goth. I'm talking to Mia tomorrow.
it's
And
cool.
With all due respect to all of them, you steal this movie, man. This is your movie. I mean, talk to me a little bit about not only being in a Guillermo movie, being the creature in a Guillermo movie. This is rarefied air. This is checking off, I would imagine, something that wasn't even on the bucket list.
perhaps I don't
No,
know.
no, it wasn't on any tangible bucket list. This was on the like list of impossible dreams
Right.
that you have because your first dream is just to act. You know, to act in some kind of professional sense anywhere, to be on a stage or do something. And then I remember I had this pang when I was 16. I was looking, can you hear that wind a lot?
It's okay. It's fine. Yeah,
That's
all good.
Could you close those windows, please? Thank you. I was looking, I was like, I was sleepless and I knew I was going to be able to perform. But then I was like, what if you don't get to like do it the way that you've seen it done? Like, what if you don't get to go to that next place and really be in movies? So this kind of feels like the kind of beginning of that sort of dream or fear that I had I'm kind of in a strange space afterward, sort of driving around New York and seeing the creature on a billboard and understanding that I just did my Dark Knight, you know, or
Yes.
there is it feels like that for me. So it's really heady and you can't. I think I'm hoping this is the sign of a sane man, but you can't comprehend it.
Right.
You know, you can't really sit down and go, this is real and this is happening.
Yes.
And everything that you saw play in your head is playing out almost like it's deja vu. Um, you know,
Yeah.
it's enough to make a man go mad.
Well, I
So,
mean, look, you more than met the moment, man, because like that's it's one thing to get that role, get that opportunity, but then to deliver in the way you did. I mean, truly kudos all around. I mean,
thank you.
and this happened for those that don't know in an unusual way. I mean, I've talked to the lovely Andrew Garfield, who's been so sweet. He's like so
Legend. Yeah.
excited. He's so excited to see your take on this.
Yeah.
And he was attached. This is obviously a passion project for Guillermo that he was trying to get off the ground for many years. And you kind of like were just dropped into this pretty last minute. In a way, are you happy it happened the way it did? I mean, obviously you probably would have liked more prep time, but you clearly had enough.
No, it happened. It happened in the way that it was supposed to happen. I think if I'd been originally attached and had to sit on it for a year and a half, I think I would have overcooked it.
Right.
And I also had just come out of a job with Justin Cozell, um, that was sort of felt like a different level of that it took a different piece of me to make, um, that I was looking to kind of process and go away and reflect on. But it ended up being the fact that I had just given a different piece of myself was exactly what I needed to do to be able to just step straight into playing the creature. So everything kind of happened for a reason, and I'm not completely opposed to the idea that it's because Guillermo del Toro had like a witch's stew brewing for 20 plus years, and somewhere along the way he sent a little fairy into my room to pluck my hair out and put
Right.
it into
In the
the
witch's
pot,
brew.
because so much of it felt like deja vu.
Yeah.
If that makes sense, so much of it felt like it had been happening for a really long time, and it did feel like I had been preparing to play that character for a really long time subconsciously. It felt like it's like if you're a samurai, like what you've kind of been training
Building
for,
towards. Yeah.
building
Yeah.
towards your whole life. And you can only build towards something like that kind of unconsciously, I think, as well. You can't direct
Yeah.
that energy. It's just something that has to happen, I think.
It also takes someone like Guillermo who, like, look, I've been privileged enough to know for many years. Journalists love him, film fans love him, actors love him because I don't know how many hugs he's given you. I think I've been hugged by Guillermo del Toro more than like by my mom, perhaps. He's the
Yeah.
sweetest man on
He
the
is.
planet
He
and
is.
lives and breathes this shit and is born to be what he is.
Yeah.
And I would imagine create such a warm, inviting space where you can take risks and you can feel like you're
Totally.
out on a limb and know he's going to have your back.
Totally. I mean, he creates this kind of factory space in which he allows all different professional artists to come and expose themselves and feel good about contributing. I think, and it's also just through curation. Like a director is a great curator, I think, a curator of taste of style. And he's put this team is not deliberate, is not deliberate.
Right.
But
It's taken him years to kind of
he's
create
to
this like
build this
Avengers
crew,
team of
which is
artisans. Yeah.
which is
Yeah.
like an extent. There, every person that works on that film is an extension of his creative soul.
Yeah.
Everybody knows the language, and everybody sort of, when you check into work in the morning, it's like you're plugging into the Guillermo mainframe. You're aware of the law, you know the world that he's created through his cinema. You know how he feels about films, and he just pumps that out constantly on
Right.
set, but I think it's because he receives something from the process of filmmaking as well. He's getting an energy from somewhere else that we can't we can't be privy to because he's dedicated his whole life to this thing.
Yeah.
And then he's generous in that he shares that with the people around him when he's making a project. And then the hope is that something comes out, which I think is what this film is, that is this sort of wonderful masterpiece, made by a bunch of different artisans and craftspeople. Um,
Yeah, well, I mean, you alluded to this. I love that you already mentioned Dark Knight because I've come across this in the research. You mentioned that as a formative experience. And like, there are two actors that always come up on this podcast when I
yeah,
talk to actors from like
of course.
20 to 60. It's Philip Seymour Hoffman and Heath
Yeah,
Ledger.
Heath Ledger, yeah. because
Ledger and
they have the same gaze. The pair of them have the same they say something and then their eyes say something else. And then there's this other thing that just gets into your stomach when you're
yeah.
watching them. And that's I don't know what that is. I don't know what that uh it's an unattainable thing, and I think it's moved all of us, you know.
So you have indelible memories. You're what, like 11 years old or so when
11. Yeah.
you see Dark Knight, and
Yeah.
it's everything about it, but in particular, is it that Joker performance that knocked you back?
Yeah, because I'm sure you remember too, the marketing. There was these posters that said "Why so serious?" in the fog of the
Yes.
there was a fogged out window, and there was this like sort of purple silhouette behind the fog, and all you could see was his smile in the. And even now, I can like I'm terrified of that thing. And then I remember it was the first time I was aware of press. I
Right.
remember driving to school and hearing people talk on the radio, and they were like, "Well, don't take your young ones because there's a pencil scene that is just, you know, like highlighting this one sort of point." And I remember sitting in the car and being like, how does he make the pencil? Because like he makes a pencil disappear in a way that will make your stomach turn." And I was like,
Right.
how could you make a pencil disappear in my stomach turn? I remember not really fully understanding it. And then one time my mum was away and my dad had taken me on a basketball trip. And I remember we were driving after that radio interview, and I was like, please, I know mum said no, but please, like, please take me to see that. I've got to see this movie.
Yeah.
And we went and saw it, and I'll never forget when the pencil disappeared. I just about threw up out of excitement, like just pure excitement. Every movement he does with the grenade strings as he backs out of the room, everything, the humor, the depth, the voice, the movement, the costume, and then just the film, Nolan's film as well, you know. Which is
Well,
an
and
interesting thing because now to speak like this about that movie, because of the internet, it's become a cinema boy trope, which is
justifiable in this case. It can't be overhyped. It's okay.
which is sad because it is a
It's
masterpiece,
legit. Yeah.
and for a certain generation, it did rupture our movie going experience,
Yeah. Yeah.
and very few films have really done that because we were sort of going into a different kind of commercial cinema at the time. So I think it is historically a really important film and performance. You
It's
know?
also then when you grow up and you get a little older and you start to get serious about this and you think
Mm.
about the context of his career, and
Mhm.
it is applicable to many young actors like yourself at this juncture,
Totally.
where like what Heath did with this, like, he could have been the pretty boy taking kind of the
Yeah.
boring leading man roles, but
Yeah.
like Brokeback and
Yeah.
Bob Dylan and
Yeah.
Joker, it was like
He was
that
doing
that
something. He was doing something else. You know, he was, and if you watch him speak in interviews, he was talking about something else. He was pushing something else, and that something else, I think, is something that's vital to not just cinema, but to art,
yeah.
to being here. I do think he was one of our great artists, and I am biased because when I realized that he came from just the other side of my country, and I realized that he drove across to Sydney, which is what I was going to do as soon as I finished school. When I realized it was a tangible thing,
Yeah.
and that somebody from home could cultivate something like that. It's an inspiration that I'll never be able to say thank you enough for.
So growing up, it sounds like from what I gather, that's kind of the exception. You weren't a comic book kid necessarily, but that one kind of transcended
Oh,
that realm.
I was,
Oh,
but in a, I loved, I just had an obsession with stories. I read all kinds of comic books and watched a lot of movies and read a lot. I've always just my world has always existed in through fable
right.
and stories and um,
Lord of the Rings kid? Like what were you? What was your bag?
yeah, massively, and but especially around like 12 and 13 when all you want to do is you want to see monsters. And that's what I love about, I think they'll hate that I say this about Frankenstein, but there was a few times where I would walk past a mirror and I thought I looked like a urukai, like from like I just come out of the mud. Like there was something in that long hair, and I was like, this
Right? Oh, totally.
he could go straight into Lord of the Rings and play something because that the scope of that world is. I'm pretty sure what most young actors, your dream is to step onto like Peter Jackson set and see fantasy and magic and
Yeah.
prosthetics and practical effects and you know.
So
Because
when you start,
I read a lot of Empire magazines.
oh,
So it's
please,
like that was for me was I was buying old copies on eBay and like, just
100%.
going through the whole sort of process.
Yeah, back in my day in the States, it was Premiere Magazine, but later on Empire totally in the UK. I love it. So when you start to get serious about acting, do you remember like who the first person was that kind of like gave you some validation that said like stick with this?
Yeah, yeah. I did. Well, I did my first play when I played the Cat in the Hat in Seussical the Musical. Um, I, it something happened on stage, that kind of feeling when, and maybe they just felt sorry for me. I'm not sure, but when you feel that you have hooked the audience in a moment when you feel them sort of hanging on your words. I think a small version of that happened, or it was just like my mum's enthusiasm and love for me just beaming to me on
Yeah.
the stage. Whatever it was, I think I felt a lot of validation when I did that
Yeah.
stage play because I'd be down in the floor under the trap door,
Right.
and then I think the line was no, maybe some kind of hat wearing, and then the floor would come up, and I'd go cat, you know. And from the moment that trap door sprung up, and that energy that just
Yeah.
surged through your body, I think that was the kind of validation that I was like, oh, I'm in trouble here. I'm gonna have to do this
Yeah.
for my whole life. But then I had a great acting teacher. I went to these NIDA short courses when I was 14 on Sundays, and I had a teacher there named Zoe who I did a speech from Goodwill Hunting. They're like, "What do you want to hear, Skylar?" And then I put these cigarettes out of me, or whatever it is.
Amazing.
That one that
Yeah.
everybody
Sure.
loves to do, and you're really intense and yelling but she saw something in that, and then she told her agent, and then through her agent, I met another wonderful woman named Veronica, and she would just have long lunches with me and talk to me as if I was an artist on the
Right.
same level as her. And they were in stage productions in Sydney and Melbourne, and they were the first actors that I felt like really kind of understood what I was trying to say, or the thing that I couldn't quite articulate, but that I was driving at.
It's so funny to look back and think of kind of like the things that like, we laugh about now. It's Cat in the Hat, but it's so meaningful. And then you think of something like
Totally.
later on, and like, look, I mean, a lot of people, I work for MTV, so a lot of people
First name.
Cool.
from Kissing Booth, and obviously, like that at the time when you're casting that must have been so huge. Must have felt like the world was opening up.
It was, and making that film, the first film, was one of the greatest experiences I've ever had on a set. It was like, I remember that was when I really had the thought, like, the best day in the real world doesn't compare to even the worst day on a film set. Like,
Right.
it was magic, like to be with people from a different country and to be able to connect with people with a completely different culture and to stand around and think that filming these words or this thing was important in some kind of way, and just the level of play. And I took that movie dead serious.
Right. Right.
Like to me, it was like, I broke down the kind of the the teenage existential catastrophe that is Noah Flynn.
Amazing. Yeah.
The tragedy of choice, and
Right.
all these things. But it was incredible. Somebody, I think Pacino and maybe Hoffman said something along the lines of this, but um, if someone is paying for the room and the space that you are, and then asking you to come in and act in that space, then you're doing it.
Yeah.
Then you are an actor. If someone else is paying the rent on the building that you're acting in, and that's what that was. It's like someone is paying money for me to put on a leather jacket and wear a disgruntled tie and ask this young woman when her boobs came in over the summer. Like
Right.
it's so totally
Living the
absurd,
dream beyond
but
again.
it is, you know, it
Yeah,
is
I
living the
get it.
dream. And I was, you know, I farewelled my friends and family. Everybody came down to the airport, and I got to fly business class and cut the line, and you know, it felt like something was happening. And I remember I bought like new shoes for the trip, like some Adidas sneakers that I never would have been able to get, and I'm still, I mean, to now talking to you now, I'm still on that same trip. I never went home. I've stayed with the same suitcases essentially.
It does feel like, coming full circle to what you were talking about, this is almost like the end of Act One. It feels like Frankenstein, kind of like if I'm writing the book, the biopic of Jacob Elordi, this is either like the beginning of the second act or the end of Act One. And now you're between Saltburn and Euphoria and this, you're getting to the juicy stuff. This is the fun times.
I've been
Um,
so lucky, yeah, I was understood very quickly, which is a great gift, and I've been given the opportunity to act on sets with people.
yeah.
Um, that you know, so you don't get this opportunity, and that's not lost on me, you know.
Was it shocking? Look, you have Kissing Booth is huge in its own way, and then Euphoria is huge in a totally different way.
Yeah,
And the reception to that couldn't be more. In some ways, it's very similar. It's another obsessive fan base, but it's
it
totally
was
different,
so
obviously.
similar. It was actually
Oh, really?
really similar. It was just like a different age bracket.
Right.
Um, and
And
some of the same. It was weird too because I'd had once Euphoria came out, I'd had people that had been watching my work since they were 12 who
right,
were
and they
now, and then
they're ready.
I was meeting them at 16 or 17,
Right,
and they're like, I watched you in this. So I felt old really quickly,
right.
just by the nature of the size of both those, the sort of social size of both those jobs, you know.
Were you immediately defensive, protective of Nate when the show came out, and the reactions were? I mean, it's part of the design of the character. You should have a strong reaction to him, but did it
I
catch you off
think
guard?
I think I was excited that that it made some people so sort of, because if you get a reaction from something that you play, that's kind of the dream, and
Yeah,
someone, like people telling you that they're scared of you on the street is actually an excellent compliment.
right.
Um, you know, because it means that you've done something, you've caused some kind of effect, not effect, like an actual, like you've affected something, which
Yeah,
is nice. But there was a moment actually when I was in New York in a room not too dissimilar to this. And I remember online, it was maybe one of the worst things that he'd done had just happened on television. And somewhat, there was this picture going around on the internet of my face on a TV screen, and somebody was holding a Glock up to to the face, and then I was watching people sort of live tweet because I was spent far too much time on the internet, and um, I was watching people be like, "Oh, he's on 57th Street. He's here. Someone run him over with your car." Like it was like people were
wow.
following where I was walking around the city. So I got incredibly paranoid
Right.
at that at
Maybe
that
next season, let's make him sweeter. Like, let's protect
yeah,
me.
at that point. But at the same time, it was like the X Games version of knowing that you'd had some kind of effect,
That's
you
amazing.
know.
It seems like in the years in this kind of period of time, since especially since Euphoria, like many smart actors, you've been director driven. I mean, you see the filmmakers you've worked with, whether it's Sophia or Paul Schrader, Emerald, Justin Kurzel,
Mhm.
Ridley Scott.
Yeah.
is that kind of like the rule of thumb? Just put myself in the hands of the best. Let me learn as much as possible at this point in time. Like, how are you figuring out this stage? Because you're getting opportunities. You're getting a lot of cool opportunities. So for the first time, you could say no to things.
Like, how are you
Yeah.
figuring this out?
That's the kind of ultimate um for me, if you work with a great filmmakers are solely contributing to cinema, and cinema is the thing that I want to be a part of. So these people that I'm working with have single-handedly, from Ridley, have pioneered this art form, this form of expression.
Yep.
And then you have people like Kurzel pushing the form and making films for the sake of making films. They keep my spirit alive, because my spirit lives in movies, and it has for as long as I've been conscious now. So for me, it's partly like I have a great reverence for them and a respect, and these people are my heroes. And I if I wasn't working with them, I'm devouring their retrospectives, or
Yeah.
like they are the kind of gods of my world. So there's that first and foremost, just a kind of a great respect. But then also, you can guarantee, whether the film is received or not received, that if it's made by a filmmaker that I really believe in, that I think is an artist, in the gallery of kind of cinema, that film will have a room. It'll have a spot where it can go on the wall, and that's more important to me than being a career actor. I want to kind of, at the end of my time, walk into this kind of what for me would be this kind of holy temple of
Right,
movies.
the posters on the wall.
Exactly.
Yeah, the Jacob Elordi closet.
Yeah, a personal criterion closet, because
Yeah.
Guillermo says something really interesting. These films are our biographies, first and foremost, the filmmakers, but every character I've played is a part of my biography, and I'm never hiding anything on screen, or my goal is to hide nothing, to be a performance artist, and to put everything that I need to say on stamped in that piece of celluloid, or in that moment in time. That is my biography, sincerely.
Yeah.
Every single one, cinematic or not cinematic. So for me, I feel more comfortable, and I feel better understood in my biography when it's articulated through the lens of a filmmaker who I respect and think is of importance.
So I gotta think at some point you email your representation. Here's my top 5. Here are the filmmakers I'm gonna do anything for. Give me a couple. Who's on the list?
It's constantly shifting and changing. And I don't, what, I'm not even going to answer, because if I do, then I'll be up all night thinking about, I really wanted to say like this person, or I really wish I'd said this person. But I will tell you, I met Wim Wenders 2 nights ago, and hearing him speak about Walter Salles at the Academy Museum Gala was a really I've only ever read and watched Wim Wenders' stuff. I've never sort of seen it, and to see him give this speech, which I would have read in a book of essays or something 10 years from now, was super profound. So somebody like that would be incredible. And I would have loved to have worked with David Lynch. I think that, I mean, obviously it's such an obvious thing, but
no, it's
something. There's a spark that left the world when he passed. And I obviously don't know him, but everyone, if you have dined with his catalog, you know that something's gone now, something that really was from a different place. And I think a filmmaker like that would have been, for me, I could happily have sort of laid down.
Yeah. No, I tell this story a lot. I got a chance to talk to him over Zoom in his last years, and I don't keep a lot of swag. He sent me a mug, an autographed mug, after a conversation that sits on my coffee table, and it's like my most prized. Exactly.
That is really spectacular. That's really, really cool.
Are there rules you live by in terms of like conducting a career? I mean, Leo famously said, I think, to Chalamet's, like, no superheroes, no hard drugs. do you subscribe to anything like that in your own career?
No, because I think that to think in that way is a little bit like playing a movie star or something. Like it's so specific.
Right.
Whereas I kind of because people ask this too, they'll be like, is there any kind of like film that you want to make or character that you want to play? And no,
you don't want to close yourself off.
No, I really don't think of it like that. It really is this kind of I've unfortunately I've been referring to the process as a cancer recently, but it feels like something that just kind of mutates and grows
Yeah,
and I keep going down different tangents with it, and it's constantly changing my relationship to movies. And I think if I thought about rules, then I'd feel like I was trying to construct a career or something. It would feel
yeah,
very business-like, or whereas I do really I can sound so pretentious, but I consider myself like a player, really, like a stock artist in a company.
yeah.
And when I find these filmmakers or they find me, I feel like I'm being hired to do this very specific thing, which is to act. And hopefully I can keep my tools sharp enough that people want to. I can apply it in different sort of spaces and in different films, and hopefully the more films that I make with great filmmakers, that your tool becomes more varied or something like that. But
Well, yeah.
I don't have any kind of like Hollywood rules, you
Well, it
know.
makes sense. It's like, I mean, on paper, with all due respect, I don't have you cast in Guillermo del Toro as the creature. Not on the top of
Yeah.
my list. And now, like having seen you do this, it opens up so many more.
But
I
that's
mean,
why Guillermo del Toro is Guillermo del
that's why
Toro.
he's him and I'm me.
Do you
Exactly.
know what I mean though?
Yeah, totally.
Because he does see
Yeah,
with that lens, and it takes that kind of trust, and it takes the ability to see in that way
yeah.
to to know, you know. And he knew before we spoke that it was going to work, you know.
I caught up with Margot, wonderful Margot Robbie recently. A
Me
Light in the
too.
Universe. Another. Yeah, I saw you. You guys were out and about in LA
A
recently, right? She's the best.
witch. She's
She's
a
the
witch.
she's the best, and just like such a film geek herself. You know her. Like,
She knows all, Margot Robbie. She knows all.
yeah. So you guys have cooked up something special, I'm sure, with Emerald. She's teased it a little bit. Is this going to make our heads spin? This your take on Wuthering Heights? Emerald Fennel doesn't do a normal Wuthering Heights. What am I
I
in
think it's
for?
I think it's going to obliterate your heart. I think it's gonna. I. It's it's such a painful love story,
Yeah.
and such a tragedy. The whole thing, and I just got to see the film recently, and it's so painfully beautiful, and agonizing to watch them suffer to suffer in the most beautiful
Yeah.
frames you know you've ever seen. Lena's shot the film, so it's
Right.
just it's stunning. I haven't quite wrapped my head around it yet, but I mean it's I've not seen a film like it in a long while.
Did you going back to Saltburn in your last collaboration with Emerald? Where you must have known how it was going to push buttons. I mean, it's kind of part of the design of it. She's a provocateur in the best possible way. Were you
I did
surprised, excited? No, not really.
I didn't think it was so extreme. I found the world's reaction to be slightly prudish, actually.
Oh, really?
Well, you know, cinema. There's so many films out there that are like infinitely
Sure,
more
sure.
disturbing. Like it's
But not
quite
many
a,
that play on like 4,000 screens, I guess.
yeah.
Like this was a mainstream
I
movie that
think.
was,
Do you know
yeah,
the film lived two different lives though? There was a life when it was just in cinemas and it
yeah,
had a different response. And then once it hit a streaming service, it got a whole different the whole lens on the film changed, which was an interesting to see how a film s- uh, structure can kind of change
totally.
through its endurance and through the format that it's viewed in was really interesting. Because once it goes on a streamer, it gets looked at through more of a social lens
Right.
than an experiential cinematic sort of experience, you know, a Friday night experience kind of thing. And it does change the way the film is understood, I think.
Well, yeah,
In
I had this
today's
same kind
culture.
of, I had the same kind of conversation with Harris Dickinson, one of your contemporaries, about Baby
Legend.
Girl, and
Yeah.
how that was kind of like
Well, yeah,
the meme,
actually, I
the
saw a similar thing on that.
memification. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, like how it becomes a meme and it kind of like, you know, gifts and just becomes a different thing. It's
Well,
not the
it's yeah,
whole;
and
it's a part.
it's not for better or worse, but it does change the intention. But there is something about giving. There is something when you do serve a film up to the world, it does become the world's, and that
Yeah,
is that is in its own way. It's a good thing, even if your point is lost, maybe it's a nice lesson in like letting your point go, and
Right.
then sort of and moving on. And I'm a firm believer that once I've sort of put the film in the can and I've finished it, it really isn't mine anymore. And the interpretation of it, the edit, none of it
Yeah.
applies to the sort of job that I've just done.
Right.
So the only feeling I had when we were making it was it did feel like our last special summer as a family or something. It did feel like that wonderful
Yes.
that it was the sun was out every day and it felt like a moment, like a personal sort of moment in time, you know.
I know it's a busy day, so I promise to let you go in a minute. But
No, no, no.
quickly, Euphoria. I guess you've shot. I mean, we're just thankful it was shot because I mean, for a while, I think a
Me
lot of
too,
us were you
man.
were you kind of like, is this
I
ever
think
going to
everyone
happen?
I
Right?
think every
Yeah.
I knew it would come around
Yeah.
eventually. But just so much, I mean, so much, the duration of that show has the world has changed as as the show
Yeah.
has changed, and the way in which it came out pre-COVID and then during COVID and then now sort of post-COVID, it has marked a really, for lack of a better word, interesting time in in the world, but also particularly in like American culture.
Yeah.
Um, so it's strange. It's really quite strange, and I'm excited to see what how this season plays into the kind of, I guess, world that Sam created. But I've seen, dailies and things like that, and it looks so good. Like it looks so good, and I think the score is going to be something else. I'm really really excited and because I've only done one sort of portion of it,
Right.
I'll get to watch the rest of it and just consume it, which is really really nice.
Do you have a favorite snippy direction from Ridley Scott? That guy is just like he can really like cut you to the core. I know. What's your favorite piece of direction Ridley gave you on Dog Stars?
I got this so much. Um, yeah, I think it was maybe him coming out of his trailer and just giving me the finger and
Love it.
saying, "Fuck me, man, you're all right." Something like that.
I mean,
But
that's all
he's,
you want to hear.
he's one of the what a what a totally sort of mesmerizing
Yeah.
experience. I got to watch this man who has been plugging himself into cinema his whole life, and it literally pumps through his blood. Like when he arrives on set in the morning, the energy that he comes into the set with and carries through the duration of the shoot, like he's living off of cinema. It's not even about the end product, it's about the actual tactile act of going and making a movie. He's
Yeah.
like he's a master craftsman, and he's like my dad in a lot of ways. Like my dad survives because he works.
Right.
He's a laboring man, and Ridley Scott labors on these movies, and that's what keeps the engine running. So I'm literally watching like cinema sustain a life,
Yeah.
which is a pretty profound thing to be in Italy watching,
Yeah. He's writing the storyboards for the next three
Yeah,
movies while he's setting up the shot.
he's literally sitting there storyboarding in the car, in the back of a Maybach on the way to work. And there's something about, he directs from this trailer,
Right.
which is wrapped to look like the set. And you'll hear this voice sort of croak from inside, Jake. And then you come and the curtain pulls back and Oz is sitting there in a Body of Lies bucket hat, smoking a Cuban cigar with 20 monitors in front of him,
Yeah.
showing you exactly how he's going to cut from this
Yeah.
frame to that
Because he's
frame to
got
that
10
frame.
cameras going. It's like, what the
Dude,
fuck?
it's like, how the fuck? Like he's cutting this movie while he's
Yeah.
sitting there. He's like, you're gonna walk from this camera and then you're gonna come in through here. And so I'm
Yeah.
watching playback on like 11 different monitors while he smokes a Cuban. And then he pats me on the back and says, "Isn't this what it's about?
He's got
Isn't
it
this what
right.
it's all about?" And I'm like, this is what it's about. This is it.
All right, we're gonna end with this. I promise. We're over time, but
Yeah.
the happy, sad, confused, profoundly random questions. Here we go.
Mhm.
I know the answer to this one. Dogs or cats, Jacob?
Dogs. Come on.
Dogs. Got it
I
right.
don't, I don't, I don't, I'm not anti-cat though. I
Okay.
do, I do love a cat.
Okay. Do you collect anything?
Um, yes. curiosities, the little tidbits and weighted things,
Okay, nice.
little bags of treasure.
Love it. Favorite video game of all time?
Kingdom Hearts.
Okay. Dakota Johnson asked me this. I ask everybody, would you rather have a mouthful of bees or one bee in your butt?
Mouthful of bees.
That is a rare, not many people say that, Jacob. Okay.
Yeah, like Candyman.
It's a movie reference, of course. That clocks. What's the wallpaper on your phone?
Oh, right now, my wallpaper is me and my beautiful friend Kaylee Spaney from Priscilla.
I adore her.
I love her. What a performer.
Last actor you were mistaken for?
Nicolas Cage.
I mean, amazing. A little bit of a different age bracket.
It's a longer story. I'll tell you tonight.
Okay, fair enough. Worst note a director has ever given you?
What are you doing with your mouth? Stop doing that. It looks stupid. And I've worked with him for like 7 years.
Little Euphoria action, Sam. Okay, all right.
But you know what? He was right. It looked really stupid.
And finally, in the spirit of happy, sad, confused, an actor who always makes you happy. You see them on screen, you're in a better mood.
Josh Brolin.
Good call. Movie that makes you sad?
Synecdoche, New York.
And a food that makes you confused. You don't get it.
Mango and meat. Mango and chicken.
Right.
Salad. Fruit chutney. Anything. Oh, no. Better answer. Minestrone soup. It should be banned.
There's the Jacob Elordi hot take of the day.
It's just a fact.
Man, congratulations on the movie. Frankenstein is fantastic. The performance is honestly next level, and I'm so happy this happened. I've been tracking the career for a while, and I'm a big fan, as you can tell.
I wanted to talk to you for a long time, so thank you for taking the time.
And I'll catch up with you hopefully for a second in person tonight.
Yeah, sounds good, man. I'll see you then.
And so ends another edition of Happy, Sad, Confused. Remember to review, rate, and subscribe to this show on iTunes or wherever you get your podcasts. I'm a big podcast person. I'm Daisy Ridley, and I definitely wasn't pressured to do this by Josh.